Hello everybody and welcome back to another video where today we'll be going through all the latest season 2 news and updates, and this is going to be in chronological order, so some of the news will date back to about a month ago but some to as late as yesterday. So we've got quite a lot of news to cover in today's video, so make sure to like and subscribe. But without further ado, let's get right into it. And the first news that we have is actually quite sad, and it is about, I'm sure many of you know now, the death of a horse on the Lord of the Rings power set. So of course this happened at Shottersbrook Park, where they are filming lots of fight and battle scenes. Well, they have actually moved out now, and of course this horse tragically passed away, and Amazon did make a statement saying they are deeply saddened to confirm that production horse died. And of course they talked about having all the regulators on set, etc, and it seemed there were 30 horses on set during that period. So yes, this is very sad news, and I know stuff around Peter were involved, etc, but it looks like this has passed on now. But yes, very sad news. And the sad news doesn't even stop there, in fact, as a few days later we found out that the Rings of Power set had caught fire, and I think admittedly some of the articles went a bit out there. It wasn't a full-scale fire, it wasn't, you know, all the sets breaking down, even though it was still of course quite bad. As you can see, the fire departments were called. Slough, my hometown, it ended up just being a warehouse at the back of the set. So yes, and it seemed to be an electrical fire, and filming did resume that day, but again they weren't having the best of weeks a few weeks ago, and luckily no big accidents have been reported since, thankfully. But yep, that's how it's been going recently. But next we have some truly interesting news, which could even be discussed in the future, of potentially Jennifer Stokke, who is the head of Prime Video, as the Hollywood Reporter made almost it seemed like a hit article on the Amazon CEO titled Inside Amazon Studios, Big Swings Hampered by Confusion and Frustration. And this article is very lengthy, and I think the main thing is that it seems like Prime Video, they don't know what TV shows they want to make. There's no cohesive idea. I think just doing shows here, there are different types of shows, it's not one clear structured path. Jennifer Stokke defends herself, saying that is just because they need to target so many different demographics and people. But yeah, that's what basically the article is about. But Rings of Power related, we found out that it only had a 37% completion rate, and of course this news got quite big, and there are two things. There's so many different angles and takes you can make of this. First of all, let's look at the negatives. From a creative standpoint, maybe this shows the showrunners and the creative team for season 1 that yes, the Rings of Power was quite slow. I see a lot of people on the internet etc saying they, after episode 5, they basically just tuned out because maybe it was a bit slow, the plot wasn't moving that fast. But then of course there could be other factors. For example, maybe people had a lot of watch parties, so if episode 8 wasn't watched again after, even though technically 7 episodes were watched, that could have been a possibility. Of course there is a 45% completion rate, which is still not good, because apparently 50% is the threshold for it to at least be a decent completion rate. Well, it'll be interesting to see whether those 63 others will be coming back for season 2 to watch any of that at all. But of course it doesn't ring nice. It does seem that there is of course it doesn't ring nice, but we'll have to see how, because still this is from unconfirmed sources from the Hollywood Reporter. But if true, I think maybe it might be a bit of a wake-up call to hopefully get the season 2 to quicken up the pace and story quite a bit. But again, Sol K doesn't see it like that. She says, this desire to paint the show as anything less than a success is not reflective of any conversation I'm having internally. She says, the second season is currently in production. We'll have more dramatic story turns, she adds. That's a huge opportunity for us. The first season required a lot of setting up, and that did. It just depends, did we need a whole season of setting up? I know they say 5-season story, that is all great, but we still need at least something to hook viewers in, and a lot of people weren't hooked by the looks of it. But it is interesting because I also at the same time know a lot of people internally did get promoted, not in the creative team but in more the logistic executive area around Rings of Power, marketing, promotion, etc. They did all get, there were a lot of raises and promotions, so it's interesting to see. It seems like it is so much counteractive information right now around it. But now let's get back to the lore and the things people and you guys might be quite a bit more excited about, as we were able to reveal that filming has begun at Bournewood, Farnham for the Rings of Power Season 2, and there seems to be a lot of crew at this location, and alongside cast as well. But immediately when we posted this, people start to make the potential comparison to Lorien. Of course, as we know, it's not known as Lothlorien at the time, as Galadriel and Celeborn having gone there, but will they, and will we see that happen within this show? Well, if this is potentially as well, we also, if you have this illustration by Ted Naismith, which is on screen, there is quite an interesting similarity, because we know the iconic, the hill going up and then the long trees all scattered around. It could be similarity, it may not be, but it just raises the bigger question of, will we see Lorien in Season 2? And I personally hope so, because we just get to see more of the elves compared to just the random. All we really got to see was hardly any in Eregion. We got to see a little bit in Lindon, and then we saw some scattered elves in the Southlands. Nice to see another elven kingdom and area, and even terrain, because of course this looks quite bright. So yeah, that's some more positive and exciting news if it is Lorien. If not, it's still quite a lovely location, and the fact there are a lot of actors here must mean it's some quite plot heavy moments or events could be happening here. Now we have some even more exciting, but for some quite a little bit worrying news, as we got set pictures from presumably a drone, which shows the Eregion sets, which we revealed a few months ago to be lovely, with the Fëanor statue in the middle looking all nice and beautiful. Now it is completely destroyed and destruction is all around, as you can see these set photos, and the statue itself has fallen down. So people are some excited, saying yes, this is clearly the 2-episode battle, we're going to see the fall of Eregion. Others are saying, we are seeing the fall of Eregion in Season 2, isn't it a bit early? You know, Season 1 things were quite slow, are they just going opposite of that now, going so fast? Of course, due to the time compression, things have been condensed, but will they go to this level? People might be thinking we don't have enough time to be with Celebrimbor, to be with Anatar, etc. If he is in the second season and we see that interaction, but safe to say that at least visually it's going to look quite interesting, as you can even see a dead person right here, a dead elf in fact. So I think it's fair to say that at least we can confirm now basically that we are going to see the destruction of Eregion in Season 2, and when that's a good or bad move we'll have to wait and see. Building on to my previous point, we then also revealed that same day that we will see a few forms of Sarwan in the Rings of Power Season 2, and that is 2 in fact, and we don't know whether it's Charlie Vickers playing both roles or if there will be a different actor. So of course the main idea is, oh, maybe this is Anatar, so we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, this got a lot of people excited and intrigued as well, because potentially we might be seeing the Eregion, the Celebrimbor and Anatar interactions, which we didn't really get to see in Season 1 except from episode 8. We also had a few more smaller scoops sharing that Charlie Vickers Halbrand has shared some scenes with Sam Hazeldine, the new Adar, during the early periods of Season 2, so maybe we're going to finally see this standoff. And also we know that Halbrand gets really injured during the earlier periods of Season 2. So is this anything related to the Sam Hazeldine thing, or could this be in a flashback when apparently Adar killed Sauron, that line from Season 1? So that could be what's insinuated here. We shall have to wait and see. Next, we had some very interesting comments from Morfydd Clark, who in fact talked about Galadriel in Season 1 and how she saw the character, and apparently it's how the idea of the Galadriel character was, where as you can see she can't see anything beyond this kind of haze and misery. Now that's started to clear, and hopefully that she's rediscovering the beauty of life and what she was trying to protect the whole time beyond herself. So it seems like the showrunners did make that decision to make Galadriel quite aggressive, not thinking, she says here her grief was so intense, so it became self-obsessed. And it's interesting to see whether or not this is the right characterization of Galadriel. Some might agree, some might disagree. Some make the arguments that it's a 5-season story arc, that, you know, season 1 she can't be the same thing, so she's going to learn and be on a story throughout this 5 seasons. So by season 1 she's quite aggressive, she's quite out there, but by season 5 she'll become into that regal ruler that we all know. Then some argue that from season 1 this isn't the best decision, because would Galadriel really act like that? You know, she spent a lot of time in Melian, the Maya, so back in Doriath. So it is quite conflicted whether you agree with this characterization of Galadriel in season 1. Also, congratulations to Morvith Clark for winning the Rising Star Award at Cannes Film Festival, which happened a few days ago as well. Moving on, in the sets at Swinley Forest in Ascot, where the Rings of Power season 2 has been filming, there was a massive castle set there, and now recently we have been sent and revealed images of 2 trebuchets right close to this castle set, and you can see stuff like, is that pumpkins? I'm not sure what that orange thing is, but there is something in it, and they were testing it out, and there are a lot of night shoots currently happening, and Morvith Clark in this tweet even confirmed that she is currently having 4 weeks straight of night shoots. So it looks like, is this related to the downfall of Eregion? Could this be somewhere else? You know, of course, up the river Gothlo, a lot of the settlements were attacked by Sarwan before he got rooted there, so could this be one of the human locations? We will have to wait and see. Quickly, we have 2 new cast members, Ewan Black on the left and Peter Temple on the right, and nothing much we can say for them as of right now, though a lot of people made the comparison that Ewan does look a bit like a dwarf potentially as well, because of his, you know, looks like he's got quite a strong build. So we'll just have to wait and see. Let us know who you think, or which race you think these characters could be potentially playing. Last but not least, we have some really interesting updates by the lovely Sophia Numviti, where she says the second installment is currently in production and going beautifully, and she cannot tell you how excited I am, because just more of everything. Season 1 was the glorious introduction. We want to know the world, the culture, how are we bringing this amazing story and this infrastructure to life, and that's what we see, the peaceful phase, the introductory phase. Then when asked how all the characters are going to react to the return of Sarwan, she says, quote, "How does every single world navigate his time, his reign and his force? And it is absolutely mind-blowing. I hope I'm allowed to say that, but it's so desperately exciting. Disa is currently being described as a kind of joyful Lady M at the moment, which is amazing and really exciting to play. There's a lot to play for, there is a lot coming, and I cannot wait to see it." Finally, the lead production designer Ramsey Avery for season 1, who is not, I believe, working on season 2, said some nice things about the second age, and about the epicness and the power and about the vibrancy, etc. And he gave a nice description. They talk about the dwarves as well, because Hazeldine was, in my opinion, one of the best looking locations with Numenor in season 1. So that is about it, guys. Let us know your thoughts on the latest news, which has been over the last month now. Make sure to like and subscribe. Until the next video, my friends, goodbye.